Hello, my name is Kerry Arthur, and today we are going to talk about a little rumour that it falls into that rare category, I think, of, in a way, it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. It should be true. It deserves to be true. It needs to be true because it's addressing something that Games Workshop has left alone for far too long. And in this case, it is via the Adeptus Astartes Facebook page, and it's via an industry insider. Of course, they call for salt, as is appropriate for these things. And it says, look for the return of Abaddon and his entourage hot on the heels of the orcs at the end of the year. Or something like that. You know what, instead of trying to memorise it, I'll just read it. Look for the return of Abaddon and his entourage this year on the heels of the orcs. I was close enough. I was close. So yeah, possible Abaddon re-release. Abaddon? Look, it swings back and forth depending on whether I remember to try and pronounce it correctly or not. I'm sure we'll get over it. It'll be fine. Now, of course, the reason that I want this to be true is because poor old Abaddon the Despoiler, he's in a bad way. He's in a real bad way. He's seen better days. That is putting it incredibly mildly. To say he's seen better days is just... I don't think... it's true, but it's not true enough. I mean, look at the lad. It's not the most up-to-date model available on the Games Workshop website. It's not exactly a top-of-the-range, delightfully modern and well-aged sculpt. It's a little bit dated at this point. Let's put it that way. Let's be nice. Let's not be over the top about it. It's a little bit dated. Scale-wise, it's completely out of whack with newer releases, especially stuff like the Nurgle stuff. I'm pretty sure, I did try and find this picture, but I couldn't. I'm pretty sure comparing Abaddon to Typhus is an exercise in basically making yourself sad at just how small Abaddon is. He should be considerably bigger than that at this point. Whilst it's not terrible, I think, to be honest, this falls under the heading of a classic sculpt. I wouldn't say that it's like absolute garbage. I wouldn't say it's like a rubbish sculpt. It just doesn't quite match up to the quality that we have now. The posing is not exactly ideal. A lot of the bulk seems to come from the spikes, which, I'll be honest, I've never really, up until now, I've never really twigged just how absurdly over the top his top knot is. I'd never noticed until today when I was looking at this, because I saw this room and I was like, that'd be good. I'm pretty sure Abaddon's looking a bit rough at this point. Let's have a look at his model. And one of the first things I thought was, holy shit, his hair must be... It must like go down to his feet if he ever takes it out of his kind of... I mean, let's be honest. It's a bit fetish, isn't it? That that top knot. Now I look at it. Between that and the spikes, which are comically oversized, it's just not done that well. And it's one of those things where it's yet another kind of constant source of bemusement for me. There are certain models where Games Workshop have just kind of left them and never really done anything with them. They've never updated them, they've never really changed them. They've been around for years and years and years in the same kind of... They're kind of lost in limbo, like the entire Sisters of Battle range. And it's puzzling. It's especially puzzling for Abaddon because, I mean, he's like the Chaos poster boy. If you think about it, Magnus and Mortarion getting new models before Abaddon the Despoiler. By the way, if you're keeping count as to how many times I've switched the pronunciation of his name, do let me know in the comments, because I was going to try it, but I immediately lost count. The fact that 2 Demon Primarchs got new models before the War Master is... it's actually kind of weird when you think about it. Now, in a way, I know what you're thinking. Well, of course they did. They're Primarchs, they're demon Primarchs. Games Workshop knows they're going to sell like nothing else. They're going to fly off the shelves. They're going to be a massive success. Of course, that is always a contributing factor in terms of what Games Workshop chooses to rework and release. But Abaddon has been at the forefront of Chaos's eternal battle against the Imperium for so long. It's not like the Primarchs. It's not like kind of Magnus or Mortarion coming back and finally leaving the warp to start leading another, start their own little crusades against the Imperium again. It's nothing like that. The Demon Primarchs, for the most part, just disappeared. They just pissed off into the warp to their own demon planets, and I mean, let's face it, did approximately fuck all most of the time. I mean, it's great that Magnus is back, it's great that Mortarion's back. I've no doubt we'll see pretty much all of the Demon Primarchs return at some point or another, but in the grand scheme of things, what have they actually done? Pachurabo, yes, did help Abaddon with, was it the 13th Black Crusade? The 10th? I don't know. One of the Black Crusades, Pachurabo did, I believe, help him by opening a warp rift somewhere. The details, I'm afraid, I cannot remember, but it's along those lines. Pachurabo did do something, is the bottom line. He actually did something. Nothing particularly direct, he didn't show off himself, but he did do something. And Grant has had a go at Armageddon a couple of times. He apparently quite likes it there as a holiday destination. So he's done something. But when you compare even the actions of two of the Demon Primarchs, like if you compare that to what Abaddon has done or what he's attempted to do, their efforts kind of pale in comparison. Now, you can argue for gathering your strength, you can argue for growing in power, and all of those things could well be true. But at the end of the day, who has been out there fighting on the front lines? Who has been out there drawing together disparate warbands, maintaining the integrity of their legion? I mean, it's Abaddon. He's the one who's done this stuff. He's the one who has successfully raided Imperial space over and over again. Yes, the Black Crusades, they did become a bit of a laughingstock. I think it was always looked at as kind of repeated failure as opposed to anything else, and it's hard not to look at it like that when the goals are unclear. Retconning it a little bit so that they were done to achieve different things, I think alleviates that a bit. But nonetheless, even if not every single Black Crusade was an Imperium shattering event, even if not every Black Crusade results in, a galaxy spanning warp rift opening, it's still a damn sight more than most of the Demon Primarchs have ever done. It's still a damn sight more than really one guy should be able to do, and yet he has achieved it over and over. The total lack of update to Abaddon, when you think about what it is that he does and who he is genuinely kind of baffling when you think about it. Like, when you consider what the Demon Primarchs have achieved in their time since the Horus Heresy, and if you think about what just a regular Space Marine, I mean, he was never that regular, I guess. He was always had a bit of a temper. He was obviously exceptionally skilled, even for an Astartes, but still, he's not a Primarch. He's not a Demon Prince. He is still, admittedly, a very powerful Chaos Space Marine, but a Chaos Space Marine nonetheless. And yet he's still just languishing in kind of crappy resin with a sculpt from years and years ago. I mean, that's the sculpt that people were using when I had my Iron Warriors army 15 years ago or something, I'm pretty sure anyway, because the bloody arms kept falling off. It's it's weird. It's weird to think about, and it's something that I'd be really happy to see change. It's one of those rumours where, rather than sitting here going, well, is it true? All I can really think is it should be true. It needs to be true. He deserves the update. He deserves the rework. He deserves to be what Abaddon is. And he's not a stumpy dude with a giant top knot and spikes that are bigger than he is. He's supposed to be a figure of power, like a figure of dread, of terror, of authority. The model doesn't really say that, and I'm sure that in no small way contributes to the way that he is seen amongst the community as a whole. One final thing before we end. It's especially baffling that he hasn't had any sort of model. It's especially surprising when you consider the events of the Gathering Storm and his part in those. And it's extra surprising when you consider that there are other companies making things like this. Now, this is from Wargame Exclusive. And that is a better Abaddon model than you can currently buy from Games Workshop by far. Is it perfect? No, of course it isn't. Is it strictly exactly what you might envision when you think of him? I don't think it's 100% spot on, but that to me looks more like the figure of authority and figure of power that he is supposed to be than the current sculpt does, by a vast amount. That's not right. You shouldn't be able to get a better War Master from Wargame Exclusive than you do from Games Workshop themselves. So, whether or not this rumour is actually true, it kind of needs to be, because he really, really needs the update. Question is, do you think he needs an update? Do you actually like the older model? As I said, I don't think it's bad, I just think it's dated. Do you think that we will see a proper Black Legion release, maybe? Given that it said Abaddon and his entourage? What do you think of the chances of like a Codex Black Legion or something like that? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll link that version of Abaddon as well, the Wargame Exclusive one, just in case, because it is pretty good. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. As usual, there are things to kill over the screen. There's a couple of videos, Patreon, subscribe, all of that shit. Click it if you like, don't click it if you don't want to, and I will see you for the next one. Toodaloo.